So hello, welcome to Firestorm Squadron Firecast. This is the second game of the evening, and it is Martyn Chivers playing off against his good friend Phil GC. Two Republic lists on the table. You will of course get table audio and audio from the commentators very shortly. Who of course will try and put me off while I finish doing what I'm doing. So we have the 1 at 6th for anyone who is just joining us are taking over the channel this evening. So we have got Paul Fullon and Lloyd Bowman of the Veteran Instincts channel from the YouTube channel, the 186th. And there's their web series that they do, which is really good, and I really recommend looking up, by the way. It's fantastic to watch. Very good insights into games that have been played and going over them with the players that were part of it, and assessing kind of the maneuvers, and a good kind of debrief or look back at decisions made. So highly recommend looking that up. And of course, we know Phil GC from his blog, Such an X-Wing Hipster. Was on a couple of weeks ago and flew droids terribly, so we'll forgive him for that, and we'll have him on this time. And Martyn Chivers, the former UK System Open winner of the biggest, still the biggest X-Wing tournament to date, I believe, has joined us for this game. We'll after this, later on, we will have Ollie Pockman is going to join us from his channel. Of course, he being the world champion. So check that out. Alright, I'm going to join back with the guys. I'm going to tell Phil to colour code everything for you.
Oh, okay, I couldn't hear anything, so... we're having a joyous day, so... Really are.
So the guys are just getting set up. As I say, we've got on Martyn Chivers' side, we've got Rick Olay with Daredevil, Fire Control, R4, Dene with Crackshot, Passive Sensors, Plasma Torps, and two Bravo Flight Officers, both with Passive Sensors and Proton Torps. I'm going to join into the chat the guys are having already. Okay.
I mean, it's really fun to watch. It's a very good list. It's the same list that Nicholas has been
Yes,
doing
that's
very
right.
well with.
Yeah, I mean, I've just played that, of course, in the Nordics League.
Yes, I didn't know if it was
Yeah,
too
which you
soon to mention that.
did quite well,
Yeah.
but we don't mention that too often if we can avoid it.
No. Nah, it's fine.
But I thought that was also actually another really fun game. And as good as that list is, and I think there will come a point in the relatively near future when everyone gets sick of it. But isn't it good to see Seeks on the table and doing well, right? Because
Oh, there
we
are multiple top-tier Seek-based lists.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Yeah, and I think for such an iconic ship from the movies, it's really important for this.
That's the thing, right? Well, spiritually, it's iconic, right? You know, it's a hut patrol fighter, isn't it?
Okay, because I don't hear anything, and I'm like...
So,
Do you want to say who you are? We are into a new video, guys. If you want to say hello, that'd be good.
hello, we are collectively members of the 186 Squadron, who are joining your regular Firestorm guys to provide commentary on our squad mates. Maybe Julian played in the first match and unfortunately didn't make enough of himself for my liking.
I'm very, very sorry.
He's not.
We've also got Lloyd and myself, who are mediocre players, but are trying to make up for that by doing a YouTube channel. So we've got to learn lessons from Nick.
Nah. Fools.
I mean, I do hope none of those lessons are X-Wing related.
I think they're all just technical lessons. I think that's about it.
There's one lessons on what not to do.
And we're hoping to sort of give you some even slightly insightful commentary on the matches that are going on tonight. So, with that, boys, we've got the setup here. We talked about the list. I'm not sure whether it went out live or not. But the rock setup here, it sort of looks like both players kind of mirrored each other, kind of just a good selection of asteroids in the centre of the board. Does that suit anybody more or less, do we think?
I like it better for Phil than I do for Martyn.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. What's your kind of thinking behind that? Why?
Well,
Guys, if you keep an eye on the game controls,
Martyn's got ships
I will post messages
who-
and converse with you there.
want to be
There's a
able
lot
to
of talking
take
going on
their
over
shot and then need to disappear, take their time turning around and come back in again. They don't knife fight well.
How you want to communicate?
The way
you
those
go
rocks
ahead.
are set up,
Just tell you
That's more
guys
important.
when you're ready, and I'll start the timer.
like unless Phil really opts in to a joust like through a central channel, it's going to be really difficult for Martyn to do anything after his alpha.
Yeah, it makes his running away more difficult, doesn't it? And so,
And
would you prefer to see, from Martin's point of view, more spread out rocks and kind of keep him out of the game a bit more?
I would want diagonal channels.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me, is I think every good diagonal is blocked. So the Jedi are loving it. The Y-wings, well, you know, you're an ion toting ship with 8 health, who's going to have 2 actions on key turns.
Yeah.
4 dice with lock focus can very easily ionize straight through focus of 8 on a Naboo.
Yeah, and then again, with those rocks being in the way, it makes the ions that much more scary in that not only are you going one straight forward, you're predictable, you don't get your evade, but also there's a high chance if you come into those rocks that you're going to go over one on the way out with your ion. So yeah, I agree entirely. I think I wanted more spaced out rocks than this. I think that this is in Phil's favour if he just kind of trundles around in the corner and makes Martyn come into these rocks.
Yeah.
Because of that, if you're Martyn, do you just sort of refuse to? Do you fly in circles around the edge of the board?
Yeah, I mean, you just don't need to engage in those rocks, and you shouldn't. You've got passive sensor ordnance. Like, what do you just say, here's where you can't be, do something about it, and repeat until such time as.
Yeah, and eventually Phil's going to have to fly through and come out of one side of the rocks.
Yeah.
And if
Do
you
you
want to start
think
that
that-
timer and go ahead.
Yep,
Do you think that Martyn splits his list and tries to fan out around the rocks, or do you think he keeps them together in more of a box?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be flying Naboos as a block. And with that rock placement, I think it's a bad plan. But I think Martyn is being a bit toey just because you've got those Jedi who are coming in doing. What's the limitation on 7th? It's to a maximum of 4 dice, right?
Yeah, so with
So-
the
so
way it
the-
works, we could make it 4 dice and then gets to add the eyeball.
That's right. So the Jedi are double modified to 5 dice hits at range 1. So 2 Jedi very happily removes a ship before it's done anything. So I don't think Martyn wants to isolate a ship.
No, I don't mind Martyn flying in the blocks so much. I think it's one of those, if you can split up and then kite and get behind with the other half of your list, that's brilliant. I think always in X-Wing the risk of splitting a list up is that you engage, their whole list engages half of your list because you've not got it quite right.
Yeah.
But I agree with Julian entirely. I think the game plan here from Martyn is to fly around the edge of the board. If he clips the back corner of a Y-wing at range 3, even through a rock, that's fine. With his ordnance and with his passive sensors, that's okay. So I think that is a far better option than coming into the middle of the rocks, which is where Phil's going to want to engage. The thing I would say about that, and for kind of players in general, it's really hard, right? One of the hardest things in X-Wing is to have the patience to commit to genuinely flying around the edge of the board, and I find that most of the people are playing into myself most of the time, unless I'm really focused on it. You take 3 turns and you're like, let's just turn in. I'm just going to turn in down the middle. I'm bored of this. And if your game plan, if the best engagement for you is flying around the edge of the board, you do need to commit to it and realise that if it takes 5 turns to get there, that is the way you win. It's better than diving in through the middle of the rocks and putting yourself in a bad position.
So everyone's aware, sorry, we have no player audio for this one because they were having trouble with Discord. So we are all going to try and keep an eye on what's going on, I guess.
Yep.
And so, looking at engagements, so I feel like Martyn's perfect engagement is a range 3 engagement where he can't get ioned
But can get the audience.
and can fire ordnance, right?
Yeah.
Phil's looking for the exact opposite, right? Phil wants to be in and knife fighting with everything.
Yeah.
Ideally, he wants to be trading range 1 shots, but that's going to be very hard for him to manage or to ensure with Y-wings, right? Because they don't have the speed of the Naboos.
What I really, really want to see from Phil is to put his Y-wings into a position where they're range 2 of ordnance, and then Ahsoka meditation and barrel roll them into range 1.
Yeah.
That will make me happy.
So I think I agree with that. I think Phil, though, the ship's tanky enough that he can afford a range 3 engagement on the first turn, as long as positionally he's in a good place to trap things the turn after.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be very difficult for Phil to get from range 4 into range 1, and if he does, he's likely to not have good shots the next turn. So actually, for me, I think he probably wants to be aiming for that range 3 engagement to get a bit of plink damage maybe into one of the Naboos on that opening turn, and then pounce on it. And I think it's probably easy to do that range 3 and then range 1, rather than range 1 in the first turn and then have all the Naboos flying past you the next turn.
So just as a point, we do have our poll going as usual, which was when to get form last time. Julian, you won the poll last time and you won the game. That's not how this works.
I think it is.
Not on our stream.
I think when there's such a mismatch in player skill going on, that's
right. Call back.
So in order to enter the vote, all you have to do is exclamation point, then vote, followed by a space, follow the number in the brackets of the person that you think will win. So number 1 if you think Martyn will win, or 2 if you think that Phil will win, aka JC.
Does anyone think Phil having the ion cannon turrets pointed forwards is a mistake? Narrowing the arc options of the Y-wings? Or do you like him having them pointed in that direction?
Again, he can Ahsoka change them wherever they need to be, if he's wanting to leverage that. He may have just forgotten.
Yeah.
And that sounds silly, but it's much easier on Vassal to do that. I've certainly had a couple of games where on turn 3 I'm sort of doing virtual puppy dog eyes at my opponent to try and let me put my arc where I actually wanted it in the first turn.
Yeah.
But it's not, the iron cannons are the threat, right? So, yeah, I think they're better off being to one side or the other. But Phil has time to decide that. He gets a bit of information here before he has to set them. So
Crazy Vulcan Tavern Wars, it's good to see you guys. Just joining in the chat. I'm sitting there for a little bit.
And yeah, by the way, this fight is sort of happening. So he's got one Bravo flight officer and Denis coming towards, sort of at the front of the line. So they're moving after the Bravo flight. So he will have the opportunity to respond and react to it, as you say, with both the actions from the Y-Wings and the battle meditation. And I think having them at the front is not necessarily a bad idea because of the list he's playing against, right? Like the Naboos aren't going to be kiting around and aren't trying to be bobbing in and out. It's an ordnance list. They want to be getting to a point where they can just get in and fire ordnance.
Yeah, I think as Julian said, right, I think it's something the designers of X-Wing have been trying to build in since the sort of end of first edition, and I've never really seen it work very well, but this idea of a list that comes in, has an engagement, and then completely disengages en masse.
I think the closest one to that has always been the 5As. The Resistance 5As can literally come in and then spread.
Yep.
And it's that running engagement.
Yeah, and it's obviously easier for them because they can do that and shoot. But I think it's the Sikh who can, take disarms to reload and things like that. And I think there's a few things that they've been trying to kind of promote that strafing style of play. And I think this list is definitely one of those. It wants to come in,
the gunboat from the Imperials as well is a similar.
Yeah. But as I say, I've never seen it sort of quite work. It's interesting. I think if I was Phil there, I'd have probably gone straight or turned rather than bank, and then put the arc. If you go straight, you turn the arc to the left, and if you to the right, and if you turn the arc to the left.
So I know I covered earlier, but just for people who are just joining, Danae, what does Danae Elberger actually do?
If she's done a maneuver of the same speed as the ship she's attacking or defending, it can't modify dice.
Cool.
Danae is actually surprisingly good.
It's a very good pilot ability. The problem being is on an I3 chassis, right? So very often she just gets focused down by everything before she gets to do very much. So she's a very good munitions delivery system.
But also, the most important thing is that passive is amazing for her.
Yes,
because she can choose her target based on their maneuver speeds to guarantee the effect of the ordnance.
Yeah.
Let me just take a moment here to give Phil some congratulations. This is the first time he hasn't bumped a ship into another one.
Hey!
It's true.
Good to see
Have we got one of those
supporting each other there?
One of those expansions we can give him.
So Rick obviously wants to go quick, yet to move. I presume he's coming straight around straight down into that gap. And I actually quite like Rick's position here. He's in a position to kind of get around behind the list and have a few turns of his.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Phil is actually now using Battle Meditation, I think, to barrel roll both of the Y-Wings to give them that cleaner line in against the Bravos for next turn.
It does telegraph where he's going.
I was about to say, does you not think that's a little bit too predictable for what's going to happen next turn?
Does it matter?
So,
I'm not
Well,
sure.
he can only do
maybe.
one or two forward, so if he does a one or two forward, the Bravo flights can just 5-4 token up, and they're almost certainly fine.
Yeah, I think it does make the straight moves fine, because I feel like they either go one or two straight forwards, or actually I think I prefer for those Y-wings the one bank to the right, and then rotate arc left.
The problem being is they are they're Republic Y-Wings, so they only have straight movement.
Yeah. Oh, true.
No, he's got. Does he not have Alpha Astromechs on them?
Oh, he does too. He does too.
All right, well then
it's like he's planned for this.
It's like Phil has a clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
So the two banks, in fact, are quite nice at that point, right?
Yeah.
And actually, because of those R2 Astromechs, you even threaten Rick coming around the side, because if Phil too hard's right here,
which actually
Nick is in a world of
what I would
trouble.
expect him to be doing.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot Rick can do to get out. Unless Rick hard disengages, the too hard right will leave him in real trouble.
But I mean, Rick probably three bank, then barrel roll for safety, and he's not too threatened, and then still in a good position to run or engage, depending on the.
I think with the three bank barrel roll, he's certainly taking one iron cannon. And maybe the second, and with only the evade, I'd be a little bit worried. Although he will have the extra.
Yeah, it depends if Phil's on the one bank or the two bank.
And don't forget, if he does get out of iron cannon range, you can 7th gunner to make those 3-dice primaries, which can also be double modded potentially.
The 7th in mobile arc. How does that? Or is it inside arc?
But the thing is, in this list, would you be willing to put your two Y-Wings into Rick? When you've got the triple ordnance
It's
threat.
a big gamble, right? Yeah.
I think this is a very 50-50 turn, right? So for Martyn, he could bring Rick in and 5 straight Dinny, 5 straight number 2, and like 3 bank number 1 out to the right hand side, and probably take no fire this turn, and that's safe if Phil comes forward. But if he does all of that and then Phil hard turns right onto Rick, you look like an idiot and none of your Naboos are doing anything. You could just 3 bank and 2 hard all of the Naboos in and take that exchange of fire. But I don't love that if everything's gone straight towards them. So I think it's very 50-50. I think if one of them guesses right and the other guesses wrong, then that will be. So you think just a bunch of one banks? That's fair. I worry about number 2. I feel like number 2 almost has to go 5 straight forwards, because I think he ends up too close to the Y-Wings if they come forward from him.
Well, he is suffering from that rock placement.
Yes, he is.
There's no good engage down that side. He'll get a good. Maybe he gets a good turn this turn, but then next turn.
Yeah, he's enjoyable. Yeah.
And just to clarify, 7th Fleet Gunner is whilst another friendly ship performs a primary attack, if the defender is in your firing arc, you may spend the charge.
Correct.
So your friendly ship, it doesn't matter what arc he's in, it's just the target ship. So if both of those Y-Wings are pointing at the same target, 7th Fleet Gunner is activated.
Yeah. Like it basically it works the opposite way around to something like Jam.
Yeah.
So Martyn bringing them in for the ordnance there, and is going to get that ordnance off, but has had to sacrifice that free evade to do so because of Phil's position, because of that barrel roll it's meant, and because of the rock placement it's meant that Martyn could not 3 bank in this turn. Doesn't have the free evade and is going to take more damage.
No, but I think it's going to get a 3-die primary, right? So you fire that first,
Correct.
strip tokens. Actually, he doesn't have tokens.
He'll have no tokens, and if that Bravo at the bottom takes 9, do you think he clips the rock, or do you think he's safe?
He's going to be very close to the rock.
Very close.
Might be just okay.
No, I think he might clip it. So Snips here presumably just gives everybody locks, right? What speed did Denis come in? Denis came in at 2. So Ahsoka is in danger here.
Yeah, I think Ahsoka, with Ahsoka, you use Ahsoka's ability to coordinate the target locks, and then if you're worried about the range, you could even barrel roll back to get out of range.
It would take both of her force to do it, but I think that's not a bad plan.
Well, if you think she's going to be out of range, you can just...
You can do, but it's the risk, right? So if you're confident, 100%, if you're confident you're good at judging distance on Vassal and you know you're out, then you take a focus or you take the target lock even on the same Naboo that everything else is. If there's a doubt in your mind that Dinny could fire at her, I think you barrel roll back to keep her safe.
Dinny, I would say out of range.
Yes, I agree.
But so Phil's trying to be very conservative with his focus, with his force, or is he just doing things in the wrong order?
He's used the ability. I don't know why he said that. I think he's used the ability and battle meditation.
Function controls now. There you go.
Does battle meditation not take a
No,
force
battle
to do?
meditation would use both his force.
Yeah.
Because you would battle meditation.
Which is what he did. He battle meditation, spent both his force.
And then his action to barrel roll is normal.
And then another bump there, which is a shame, right? Because you leave him without actions.
Well, I feel it's back to normal service by bumping there.
And he's vulnerable now to Rick, although it has at least gone and has gone slower. So Rick potentially getting 3 dice into that tokenless Jedi now.
Yeah, unobstructed.
Yeah, I mean he's still got a force charge, but it's still not great. Yeah, but I mean Rick doesn't have any munitions.
No, he does have fire control.
He does get the fire control, so he gets it early. And I think if your target at the moment with the munitions is going to be to try and take the Y-wings out, I think with Rick I would just pick on the other Y-wing.
Yeah, so you shoot everything into number 1, right? I think that's...
Because once you take the irons off the table, the Jedi are going to struggle to put damage into the Naboos if they're going fast enough.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
And that's that. If you can trade very little or one of your Naboos for both of those Y-wings, then you can just go pretty fast the rest of the game and have focus evade, etc. And the Jedi will struggle.
So, Rick, starting here, did he have a focus?
No, he had a lock.
No, he took the target lock.
Oh, bad
always
choice. Presumably spends there.
I think you just reroll 1, right, at this stage. You're not going to kill the thing anyway.
Has he got FCS, has he?
Yeah.
So rerolls everything for 2.
He did reroll.
No, he has got assist, but he spent a lot. So it's got 2 shields off.
Clinks 2 shields into it.
Nice, and that softens that wiring up, right? It's more likely, obviously it's got the ship ability, but it's now more likely to take crits.
If Martyn gets... Protons completely obviate the...
They do, because you modify afterwards.
Yeah, the defender modifies first.
The defender would modify first.
Yeah.
And the good thing is if Dinny is out of range of that Y-wing.
Yeah. If not, you'd use the plasma torp.
Yeah, the plasma torp to strip that last shield, push any more damage through, and then follow up with the proton torps.
I think
now you have the choice, right? Whoever's left lower health after this shot is the one you shoot at with the rest.
Yeah.
Is range 3 obstructed? Well, torp, so just obstructed.
Yeah,
so 2 dice.
it is obstructed. But, yeah, so it'd be 3 from the plasma torp.
Oh, good roll.
Just roll 3 hits out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martyn Chivers.
So
3
that is...
shields.
No,
that
it
is
is
3 shields,
3
and
shields and a
And
damage.
damage.
That is half a Y-wing.
It's half a Y-wing with 1 shot.
Yeah, and now the power of passive is enormous here, right? Because rather than having to focus fire,
split.
if and it's not beyond the realms of possibility, one of these next shot kills that Y-wing, you have a follow-up proton torpedo into the other Y-wing.
Yeah, you fire red first into you fire red into number 2, see what the damage is, and then you have the choice of green.
Red is just regen 20 shields there.
Yeah, it's going to help. Also, he hasn't taken the hull damage, so do we want to...
No, he's getting there, I'm talking to him.
He's getting
That's
there.
why it went to 20 shields, I think.
Yeah, so
now in return, the 2 Jedi don't have very interesting shots, right? Like, Bravo, he's going to take...
That was a pretty strong plasma torp, not going to lie.
So red into green here, and then so red into the front Y-wing here.
Well, Ahsoka will have a shot into green first.
But only 2 dice obstructed.
Yeah. And that's it as well. And the other thing is if he does just remove that Y-wing before it gets to shoot, that is the one that's in range with the ion.
Yes.
And
we'll shoot back anyway because of my 2. But...
Yes, true. I don't know why I thought they were I3 for some reason. I was looking at the
it's usually broadside of matchstick, right?
I was very much looking at the hull on the Bravos and not the initiative number. I thought they were I3 for a second, but no, you make a very good point.
So, it's right, we do that all the time, we just lose it in editing normally.
So Jedi Knight here with 2 hits.
Save.
And 2 of 8.
That's just rude.
Martyn dice.
Martyn dice.
So yeah, if you're just roll better today to find out how to win a system open, it is just roll perfectly all of the time.
Yeah.
Because for anyone else looking at this list, you're looking at you have a whole bunch of torps. You spent 18, 20, 31 points on torps that are all single modded. But these are Martyn torps.
Yeah. You have to remember.
They have triple
we
mods.
saw there the first plasma torp just doing maximum damage and half in a Y-wing straight off.
Yep. And now red's going to fire a proton torp.
Oh, Jesus.
No focus.
So that roll stays exactly the way it is, essentially.
Yeah, because the crit becomes a hit, and then he changes a hit back to a crit. Oh.
No, because proton torp. So
No. So
there should be one less crit in that.
So it should be one less crit in there. It should be 2 hits and a crit rather than 1 hit and 2 crits.
Would you put it?
I mean, that's not great for a ship which is currently trying to get double tokens.
I think
but
the fact it's alive
stays there.
The fact it's alive is the best thing. If
Exactly.
If that had died and there was another proton torp going into the second,
that would have been terrible. Yeah.
So do you think that Martyn now just fires the primary weapon with green?
No, I think.
Hello.
Hey, Dale.
I generally think you probably just try to guarantee it with the torpedo.
I think you kill it. I think you make it dead. Knowing you don't take an iron shot back from... Well, you do, but you don't take
knowing
more
that green might never shoot again.
Oh, greedy boy.
That is greedy.
That's really
Oh dear.
It's okay, 'cause it's Chivers dice.
Oh dear.
For anyone watching, that was the wrong choice.
Yeah.
So twice now so far, we've seen people make the wrong choice and get rewarded for it.
Why do I never let that happen to me? I make the wrong choices all the time.
It's karma, Nick, that's why.
What's
Nick,
the
how many
upside
times
of
do you win a
that choice?
game?
That choice is insane.
That's crazy.
Nick, how many times do you win games?
Not enough, obviously.
Because I was going to say...
Okay.
So
So good roll here from
whichever
reasonable roll
ones
here
you
from
win
Phil.
would be the
Nice.
answer.
Gets the reroll and gets 3 hits on the iron. So going to
So
need
that should
perfect
be
dice here.
Yeah, so he takes the damage and gets the ion.
So that's really nice of Phil. Needed that because without that was in big trouble here.
Indeed, but I think Martyn will quite happily trade an ion and 1 damage on
And then
green
you
for...
I mean, it
obviously...
could still die, right? Because it could
there's
take
chances
3
on that
damage from
rock
this shot and then
when
hit
it's
a rock,
armed.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you use the 7th Fleet gunner, don't you, and put the primary 3 die shot.
If you remember to make it work.
Yeah, and this is very much like not a list that Phil runs usually, right? So there's every chance he won't remember things. No, he has. He's just spent the charge.
Yeah, Phil's pretty good at his triggers to me. And so the reroll of the tail like that.
Yes.
Nice.
Solid.
So just out of interest, how many people bet on final salvo?
Oh, Martyn.
Disrespect from Martyn.
Yeah. Bit
Just
lucky
leaves
there,
2
but
shields.
No one.
take shields.
People are expecting Martyn to win now.
Yeah, well done, people.
Well, some people are.
That's a thing.
He's definitely come out quite ahead.
So that's not as bad as it could have been. You know, there was a not unreasonable chance of Phil actually killing that Y-wing in 2 shots after the first shot got in. And then another proton torp into that second Y-wing, and I think we're already looking at game over. It's just definitely still a game here, and although the opening trade were very much in Martyn's favour, we're now into the situation that Julian was talking about at the start, where Martyn is jammed up. Martyn doesn't have great places to go, certainly not if he's wanting those 3 of 8s. Even Rick here, to turn in and stay aggressive, is going to take him some risks. Cheers, man.
This is an X-Wing chat, not your dinner chat, for God's sake, Nick. Jesus.
You're welcome, thanks very much.
You are indeed.
Go back into dinner chat.
I'm so glad he was talking about food. Yeah, it could have been anything, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I
You can get up now, Barbara. That was lovely.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.
Well done.
So they can hear us.
So I'm just going to apologise for Dale Cromwell. He's a builder. He's a builder. We shouldn't have let him on.
So back to X-Wing. I noticed on the last turn, Martyn didn't care about doing a 3-bank in anyway.
Martyn doesn't need evade tokens.
No, he doesn't. So,
well, I think it was sort of a bit of not. You kind of came in halfway through. It's a bit of not caring, but also where the rocks were, he didn't really have the option. And I think he made the right choice to sort of turn in anyway. But because of the sort of tight rock setup, he didn't give himself the option to both get shots and have his evade.
So I still think you just 1 straight. These guys. I mean, this guy's got a 1 straight. I know he can't passive.
I think he's
but
on
the
that
top guy 1 straight passives, and there's no way they're closing the gap on everyone.
He has also got the ability to come in and block her, right? Because he can 3-bank down.
Is he moving? Is Martyn moving first of those 2?
Yes,
That makes a big difference. Yeah, then I quite like the 3-bank, or the 3 straight forwards. I think the risk with 3-bank is if the Y-wing goes 1 straight forward, it might just broadside you.
Yeah, I mean you want to draw fire with that Bravo, don't you? Because the other one's a damaged one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Danae's. You're not a huge fan of Danae's position here at the moment either.
No, she's in a slight position. I think for number 1, I quite like the 3 straight and then boost towards the bottom of the board. I think that gets him. I think that blocks the Y-wing. It gets you your evade.
Also restricts the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and gives Rick a better approach in, right? Keeps Rick safer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think I like the 3 straight boost from the 1. 2's obviously going straight. Dinny probably just has to. Dinny could 1-bank in, behind that.
She could also just 1 forward and carry on threatening Ahsoka.
I think you want to go a bit quicker though, because you want to try and match Ahsoka, don't you? You want to.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's coming straight at you. Maybe.
So we should do a 2-bank down.
Yeah.
But if you do a 2-bank down, you've got every chance that Ahsoka just barrel rolls.
It's range on, yeah. I think I might even just.
I was going to say,
3-bank barrel roll her. So 3-bank her down towards the bottom board edge and barrel roll her across. I think she's unlikely to take much fire then, and then you just kind of reset for next turn.
Has she got order?
Yes, she has.
I'd 1-bank. I'd 1-bank left and passive, Dinny, because the Y-wings probably aren't going too quick.
Yeah, that's fair.
That Bravo did not hit the rock.
It did not.
That's helpful, certainly.
I'm shocked. I genuinely thought that was going on the rock.
So he's just heavily rolling in and trading.
Yeah. So far Dale is. And he has the ability to do that because he got the better of that first engagement, right?
Yeah.
So as you say, you've got to think that he's going to 1-bank Dinny in here as well and kill the next Y-wing, possibly even before it fires.
Yeah, with Rick coming in behind. Oh.
We've got a nice barrel roll here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you barrel roll, don't you? No, you don't. Apparently,
He's focused. I mean, he's also always got the potential to make it barrel roll with and
he's at range 1 anyway. To come to make it a barrel roll.
And he's at. I don't love that Dinny move. I know I sort of talked about it actually, but I think having gone slow with the other 2, I think Dinny probably should have 1-banked in there.
Whoa!
Ooh.
So this is where obviously Martyn and Phil know each other really well, play each other a lot, and can just cover spaces. Plus, obviously, Ahsoka coming around is a pretty desirable thing.
And yeah, there's always that wildcard thing, isn't it, of when you know somebody and have played against them many times, and over multiple years, multiple games. You do get into each other's heads and you learn each other's patterns and behaviours.
But I mean, it also leaves the need to just do 3 talent next turn and come back around.
Also, that passive of she can just lock Ahsoka and not worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you've seen the Jedi come out here to block Rick, which is very sensible because otherwise that Jedi, that Y-wing's in trouble.
Yeah.
So pretty even. I think. Oh, okay.
Oh, I hate that barrel.
I don't like that barrel.
I don't like that barrel.
No.
I was just about to say, because next turn...
What's happened there?
He's panicking about the torpedo.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oh, that was... Oh, fill it. It was so good. And now it's so bad.
That would have blocked nicely.
Yeah, next turn you block it, and then you K-turn, sloop around it, and you get your bonus calculate from the droid that nobody runs.
Yep.
And now it's got a lovely option for a range 1 shot into the Y-wing.
So had the Jedi stayed still there, Rick has at most a range 3 shot into Ahsoka, and I don't know he definitely got that. But here, there's now a much better shot on that Y-wing. Because had the Jedi stayed there, the Jedi takes a plasma torque, which is not ideal. But actually, the trade feels relatively even at that point.
Why did you roll 3 dice?
Because they both did a 3.
They both did a 3.
They weren't the same. Yeah.
But
again, should be a single crit.
Again, that should be a single crit, so it should be 2 hits and a crit.
So it's going to be shield crit anyway. Actually, doesn't matter whether they realise it or not because it's just going to be shield crit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
How does that Y-wing still have a shield but have lost a hull?
Phil's decreased the hull, but I just don't think he's
decreased the hull but not the shield. Yep.
Yeah.
I see what you've done there.
We can fix that.
I see what you haven't done there.
We're fixing it now.
So does that mean I have inadvertently...
Oh, direct hit as well with the crit.
Oh, and a direct hit.
But back up to 20 shields, so we're all good.
Yeah.
It's alright.
It's because
it went out of order.
It's because Phil had realised, and then Nick did it as well.
Yeah, because I had a delay on my screen. Fixed it.
But
yeah,
direct hit is rough.
It's always worth checking to see that it's in range, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Do plasmas do plasmas take the shield off before dealing the damage? Do they swap their round? Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that's totally useless on Jedi, isn't it? Okay. Cool.
But if it is a crit as well, they can cancel the crit first.
Yeah, for sure.
It's something that people do forget at times.
Oh, this is why I take protons. It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil.
That's an interesting point.
What is?
When the plasma torque went through to the... I just took the shields, didn't I? Anyway.
Okay, so the Jedi's still alive, which is good.
The plasma torque earlier, Nick, was 3 hits.
Yeah.
So there were no crits.
No, I was thinking
involved.
of the pressure. Oh.
This is the ion cannon back, presumably.
Yep.
So Martyn needs perfect, which he doesn't get. So another ioned Naboo. The issue for Phil here is that with that first ion, he wasn't able to capitalise on it.
Yeah. He's taking damage in lumps and dishing it back in 1s and 2s.
Yeah. Now here, Martyn does at least bump the Y-wing. We think the Y-wing can K-turn. I think maybe not. You know, it's close. Let's do some.
I don't think so.
Some stream cheating. The bit of cardboard of truth says that he can.
I mean, looking at it, I think there's definitely a chance it fits, but.
So I think you get a K-turn from the Y-wing here, which does 2 things. It's a 4, so Rick won't be able to get the bonus dice versus you, and it threatens that bumped. Threatens that bump Naboo. I think you probably 1-turn the Jedi in to get yet more shots on it.
Yeah. It's not ideal, right? If assuming the Naboo that is setting a dial this turn is going fast to get an evade, it will overshoot the Y-wing. You could just bump back into the Naboo to stay where you are, which means Rick then bumps into you and it turns off all of Martyn's shots and mods.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
It's
another turn of then who's shooting what with what.
Yeah, absolutely. You're relying on a Jedi Knight to do all your heavy lifting.
Yeah. So I feel like you've got to have the shot right. So I think if it's me, I probably like 4K the Y-wing, and I consider one turning and then barrel rolling downboard with the Jedi Knight, even though that puts you into range of that bumps in the blue. I think there's a chance that you bump Rick if he's turning in with the 3, which is probably your best case scenario.
There is no world in which you don't hard one roll with that Jedi.
Yeah.
Although it is Phil, he may do something completely wacky.
And then how fast does the Ahsoka need to go to get away from Danae?
The thing is, if that Y-wing does the K-turn, whether or not it lands on the rock, it doesn't matter, because it means that it'll have an arc on that Naboo for the Jedi to get its 5 dice range 1 dream shot.
Yeah, and it's in a good position for next turn as well, right?
Yes.
So coming back in.
I mean, do we think Ahsoka just turns towards Denis? So if Denis is likely to do a 3 talon roll, does Ahsoka just turn towards?
But she can talon roll either way, right?
Yeah, no, I don't
Presumably
think
she's going to talon towards the middle of the board again. I think it's not bad, just to kind of keep pressure.
Because you can either arc dodge, if she's gone towards the middle of the board, you can arc dodge with your boost. If she's gone out, you can boost into range 1 and trade favourably with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. Unfortunately, that guy's got... Oh, is that... Okay, I mean, you can rotate your arc.
I say, he'll just rotate.
I still don't like it as much, because I think you've used your action anyway, so you've got no more actions than you would have done if you were K-turned. And I think
Can
for
he
next
3
turn...
bank boost with Ahsoka and get there to coordinate?
Yeah, maybe that's what he's thinking. So now the one hard here from Pond's move looks glorious, right? Because you one hard here, you barrel roll, and that's it. I really like that, Phil. I think that's a real good suggestion.
I would have thought Phil would just suggest a 5k and be done with it.
I mean, to be fair, Phil
we know by now you're meant to be on 5. Right.
Yeah. As an A system would be.
Also, we have
5Ks everywhere.
We have an R4 P44 trigger.
Do we think Phil did that move because it triggered that?
Yes, I think we do. I think we all think that.
Because I don't think other than triggering the weird droid he's brought, I don't think that.
The thing is, it's still a 4 dice shot into a modified ship.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I definitely prefer
the
one hard.
5 points of value right there.
So unfortunately, we haven't got pond level genius from Phil here.
Wait, go back and say that again and make it sound not sarcastic.
No, I think the hard turn down board was the best move that Ahsoka could have done without a shadow of a doubt.
The icing on the cake of this is it all sounds really sarcastic since Pond didn't say it either.
I'm going to say something to really annoy Dom and Pond
really
right now.
sorry.
So, Tad Morris, thank you for the donation. That's amazing. That's a hand solo salute to you.
Oh, come on.
Oh well, I like the idea much less now that I know it was Dom's.
That is the truth.
I'm surprised he didn't coordinate. You got into range to use battle meditation for the coordination for the focus and everything.
He wanted to get out of the range of the proton top, I think.
I mean, that Rick move now looks like the next level genius from Martyn, whereas actually, I don't know what it was. It was just odd.
I also don't think he's gone out of the top.
What did Green bump Rick?
Green did not. Green's passive, I think.
Yes.
Oh, he's just putting it out rather than flipping it.
Martyn dice. Martyn dice. Jeez.
Single modded shot. That's Rick into Ahsoka.
Yep.
Oh! That's just there you go. Rick just rolls up and one shots Ahsoka.
Please join us at 9:30 for Ollie versus Dale.
But you see that one hard towards Denis.
Yeah, can someone message Ollie to tell him to get?
Paul, can you go into your Facebook? I need you to do a Yasby thing because I can't do it.
All right.
Just send me the list, Dale. I'll sort it out. Just send it to me. It's fine. I'll sort it.
So this, I think, is the Jedi Knight. Rolling only 2,
Then
so not using the gunner?
I think
using 7-3 gunner?
I just got WTF in my Facebook Messenger from Chivers.
Yeah.
So Phil maybe a little bit tilted there from the one
Yeah.
shot of Ahsoka, to be fair to him, but
Yeah.
missed sort of 7 freak damage.
Crazy Vulcan in the chat.
On the plus side, Martyn totally wasted that passive charge from Denny.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Massively.
Wasted actions are what lose you games.
Yeah, and Martyn dice save him.
Oh,
I think in this case it's more a surplus of riches, though, isn't it?
yeah. Here we've got the proton torpedo coming into the Jedi Knight.
Yeah, it's a calculate for
So,
defense.
I mean, going back, it's easy to say, right? But had Ahsoka turned downboard, like Phil suggested, and then messaged to Dom for him to say.
Brilliant.
Then she'd have been a lot safer. And so fair play, Dom. I think that was by far the best option for Ahsoka.
How has the Jedi lost the Force after doing a
He
red?
spent it on 30.
He did.
Ah, okay.
Well, that's the iron cannon back into.
That is the iron cannon, which will do full damage and ion.
Yep.
But again, it's just
I like it down.
It's
I like
too
it.
late, isn't it?
We shall see.
That's the only thing that Phil is doing at the moment, right? Those
Yeah.
iron cannons. And so to talk about the sloop there rather than the one hard, so we all favoured the one hard and barrel roll. The Jedi would have been taking 2 range 1 shots there from Naboo starfighters, and that's not great. Only one of them would have been modded, and it would have only been single modded. And I think at the game state as it was, even when Ahsoka was alive, I think Phil needed that damage spike. And had he taken a 5 dice shot into this sort of number 1 Naboo, the likelihood is it's now dead and off the board, and Phil feels more like he's making progress than he does at the moment.
Yeah.
It's
So
still not
also with-
over, but it's looking very bad.
With Rick here, do we think he just does a one bank up towards it? I know with Rick you want the bonuses and everything else, but he can just slow roll it up and take a nice pot shot at red, not necessarily losing anything.
This is not as good as your last idea, Phil.
At least it was my idea.
Yeah, it's whether you need to though, right? Because the upside is that you kill that Y-wing. You may do that anyway with Dinny, right? Dinny's got some plasma torps that are almost certainly going to be shot at that Y-wing. So it's going to have 1 agility against 3 dice. And the downside with Rick is if it all goes wrong and you don't kill the Y-wing, then Rick might be ioned. You might take some damage from the Jedi coming back in.
You lose this game by losing Rick, right?
Yeah, and I think given the good position you're in, you can just disengage with Rick here and not worry about it. But equally, you're in such a good position that if you want to turn on the pressure and be more aggressive, then no, it's not. I think it just sort of, the likelihood is you win, but percentage-wise, that is the riskier thing, and they leave yourself slightly more open to things going wrong.
See, with the Rick, I would be doing just as, like a straight and then a Daredevil boost, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Up or down, depending on.
Yeah.
So did you come in and taken the evade? Oh, got the free evade. I was confused there for a minute.
And if he does do that 3 or 4 forward with that Daredevil boost, he's out the arc of the Y-wing as well.
Yeah. Jedi bumping here, going to have a shot, but not a very good one.
So Rick
And
did
then
one bank.
Rick does the one bank, which is not as good. It's not as good as the 3 straightforward Daredevil.
Still cool.
And this is it. I mean, you pay for upgrades and stuff on your ships. Might be worth using them at times.
Unless you're slooping to get a calculate.
Yes.
Apparently Martyn's listening to me. Oh, she shut up.
Does Phil not get the calculator, or is it fully executed?
Has Martyn not just boosted from range 1 into range 1 for no reason rather than taking effect?
I think he's trying to get out of the
just
the arc
happened.
there, but-
I think what we're going to learn here is it probably doesn't matter.
Well, no, it probably doesn't.
I suppose
Yeah,
he has boosted
for
out of
new
the shot
players.
from the Jedi that it was never going to take.
Perhaps. So for new players, the way to win games is to roll well initially, get really far ahead, and then it just doesn't matter from that point on.
Yeah.
And yeah, just The sad thing with that silly droid that he took that no one sees is he did have to fully execute the maneuvers. So even when he gets bumped,
it's fully execute red though, isn't it? It's not even fully execute any maneuver. It's genuinely awful.
That's a dead Y-wing.
I hadn't even seen the red part. That's even worse than I thought it was.
If it was just fully execute maneuver, if there was a ship in your bullseye, they called it, I think.
So I just want to point out something that Academy Krieger said in the chat. Is not to take anything away from Martyn, but I'm glad to see Phil GC back in the game and on the blog.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree to that.
Yeah, the community is better for having Phil in it for sure.
Agreed.
And worse for having the rest of us.
Just don't tell him we said
And that is a damning indictment of the community, isn't it? Any community that Phil GC expects.
Oh, dear. And then Martyn just rolling the disrespect and not letting Phil put any damage through.
So is that a concede or was that an accidental delete?
No, it was an accidental delete. I think it was foreshadowing.
I think he's missing the table flip button from TTS, right?
So
Which is the best button in any game ever.
should we all be running 4 Naboos? I feel like.
I mean, I own 4 Naboos. I'm so tempted.
I think I might own 4.
4 Naboos definitely seems like about 2.8 too many.
I've had a great time running 5 Naboos.
You madman.
It's not great, but it's not awful either. It's just it's the usual problem with non-optimized spam, right?
Yeah.
All the
it doesn't feel like it's worth £100 worth of ships.
Yeah.
I had no idea how good Dene was, though.
Well, Dene's very good. I played against Dene in the first Vagabond Open and hadn't seen her before, and it was terrifying.
Nick, I'm pretty sure you ran Dene on your stream.
I did not, but it was run on my stream. In fact, maybe I did, but
I mean,
it was definitely run on the stream, but I think I ran it because somebody else did.
It's definitely something that could have happened.
Agreed. There's been a lot. Okay, so since lockdown, there has been a lot of games. The first 3 weeks, there was 2 games a day where I was streaming them.
Yeah, it was during your 24-hour stream for the NHS.
I don't remember
you see, that's just a blur. That's just a blur.
Yes, I can imagine.
My favourite. Well, there was 2 favourite moments of that. I have to say. I know they can't both be favourites, but they were equally awesome.
It's always going to be the one dice snapshot killing Anakin.
That was one.
Yep.
And the other one was the last shot of the day.
Oh, don't even bring that
up. Phil did not realise that Ray could sloop onto a debris and still rotate arc.
Yep, did not realise that.
And still shoot out of arc of Boba Fett.
Yep.
I think my favourite bit was seeing 3 Shadowcasters on the table.
Ugh.
Oh, that was brilliant. Oh,
that was Chris Burnett played against it, wasn't it?
Defiance.
I assume Chris is
Defiance.
here.
Yeah, against Sir Wolf.
They're only Defiance when Phil has them.
Alright.
I'm definitely planning on getting that T-shirt all organised and sorted.
Come on.
Just for Phil. He has to wear it at the next system open. It's like
this must happen. Okay. If you'd like to donate for the Phil Get T-shirt stream,
if the stream makes it happen,
it's in the chat. You heard it here, right? If the stream makes it happen, what do we need to make it happen? Guess we run every day. Yeah, that was exhausting. I don't know what. If we get another £10 donation this evening, we go with that. That'll make it happen. Thereabouts. We've already had one £10 donation.
A T-shirt is 20. Call it 20.
Yeah, so we've had £10 already. So that's my point.
All right. Okay. Yep.
If anyone would like to donate about £1,500, then we can sort Lloyd's audio out on the Affectionate.
Love it.
So Martyn bringing everything back around here has just got to get arcs on, and you feel this Jedi's not long for the world.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Phil, to be fair to him here, from a position that the rest of us would have given up and gone home, has got
still making a game
unanswered shots.
Well, he's so used to flying 2 ships against however many.
Do you think Phil's now in God mode?
It's just like, I've got one ship, it's on.
It is a little bit like that. That potentially he had too many ships at the start, which
Where
was
did that evade come from?
You had an evade token.
he had an evade
I
token
didn't see it.
because
I looked up at the wrong time. Apologies.
he has full throttle.
I'm too busy enjoying our chat to watch
So what do we, in terms of the game, despite the fact it was suboptimal, Martyn's engagement was better.
Yeah.
He had a game
and
plan.
then
We all agreed what it would be. So at the start of the engagement, if he's at range 3, which he was of most of the ships, he's going to have a good day.
Yeah, and that initial engagement, it was
up by
basically.
good dice, right?
But also, really importantly, we discussed on the engagement, right? The way it ended up against how we were saying Phil needed to engage was Phil having the range 3 engagement and then having another one.
Yeah.
He was in a position where he could have either pulled the engagement back further. So if rather than going towards the things at all, he'd gone in towards Rick, like you were discussing, Paul, then he took a single torp that turn.
Yes, absolutely, and had like range multiple shots onto Rick.
Right. But if he wasn't going to be turning into Rick that turn, then instead he should have gone much bigger with the Y-wings.
Yeah.
Because he had a window to range jump.
Yeah.
He didn't take it.
Yeah. So again, similar to your game with the Cova move from Cormac, which we all felt was kind of pivotal. It was not really making a decision one way or the other. Kind of being presented with I should either do this or this. I don't know which one is right. A 50-50. There was no way to know which one of those two moves was going to be better, but because of that, and I think something that a lot of people do, I've certainly done it myself, you end up making neither decision and being in a bad situation whatever happens.
That's a good block from Martyn.
Yeah. And because it was like a range 3 engagement and things like that, the two Jedis didn't really contribute. So it was almost like 4 Naboo starfighters versus 2 Y-wings.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and something we didn't talk about as well is that we've got 2 non-optimized lists here, but one of them has a very simple burden of execution. Right, you roll forward, you take a passive center, and you fire a torpedo or something that is near you. Whereas the Y-wings have to get into range 2 to use their ion cannons. They're going to take a lot doing it. The Jedi need bullseyes to be pushing damage into things, and they weren't getting it. So Phil had a better setup. He had, I think, a pretty good approach, like a better approach for the most part, but had a list where all of the burden of execution was on him. And so Martyn was able to overcome his bad position, his bad rocks.
Yeah. And so Phil kind of almost choked us too much, but choked at that kind of final moment in terms of not quite committing hard enough one way or the other to kind of make the most of it.
So from the chat, people fret over terrible decisions and waste time instead of pressing on ahead and getting recouping the pace in the next round.
Those are the people that watch Cormac's game, right?
Yeah, but no, I think that's very valid, right? Because the other thing to say is that so we feel on that first engagement, Phil should have gone more hard in a direction, either towards Phil or towards Rick or towards the rest of the game, the rest of the list. But the second turn as well, it didn't go that first turn went very badly for Phil, but the second turn as well, he tried to do a bit too much, and there was the instead of focus firing on the ion ship, everything went in slightly different directions. We had the kind of position yourself for the block on Rick and then get scared and barrel roll out, and there were a lot of suboptimal decisions on that second turn as well. And I think that's what the commenter from the chat is talking about, is like, you need to, if you're able to, and something I'm very, very bad at, is you need to be able to wipe that first turn from your mind and be like, right, this is a new game. The new game is that I, for some reason, have brought 3 ships and 25-point bid, 50-point bid. How do I now win this game? And I feel like Phil on this occasion, didn't quite kind of get his head back in the game and kind of execute on that second turn.
Yeah, and again, as we were saying, that 3 sloop with the Jedi Knight, rather than barreling, coming back in and having the more aggressive, potentially punchy 5-die shot into that Bravo, which could have just removed it from the game, and before it would be able to shoot.
And got him Rex Way as well, right?
But the droid,
and utilising that 7th Fleet gunner, because he's got those Y-wings with the 7th Fleet gunner, and he never really had the opportunity or chance to use them to their full potential.
Yeah, so I think the point
stuff,
is there is
stuff
you
like
can
that
put
happens.
upgrades in, right, but don't chase upgrades necessarily.
Yeah.
And stuff like that happens, you know, it's a brand new list. It's a faction Phil doesn't play, it's a list Phil's never played before. And he's taken weird upgrades. And I think that you know, you can't forget all of that almost. That's it. And as we said, you know, as we said already, you know, this is easy to do, sat here with, you know, 5 of us, you know, some very, very good players helping me and Lloyd to make decisions about what we think we should be doing.
You're talking about the other guys, right? Not me.
We're talking about Pond.
Sure, why not?
I mean, who else has made the national final in the last few weeks?
No, that's fair. Fair point.
It's interlude, is it?
And this is something you don't like to see. And Martyn is, you know, he's got a good reputation, but he toys with players, right? He's won this game, and he's intentionally not doing any damage, stringing it out. It's really...
Phil is neglecting to spend force on defence at this point.
Well, no, because Martyn's got a crack shot there.
Ah, okay. Look at you still paying attention.
Oh,
So Phil, got the 2 dice and the focus here. Could put some damage onto Rick, but Rick went quicker. So it's not looking great.
2 an eyeball result versus 4, 5? 4.
Well, does he just go for the 2 dice shot into the 2 health Bravo?
I think
know
that's
it's got a
probably
focus
the
rate
smarter
on
shot.
it,
I think it's a smart
but it's probably more likely to do damage than shooting it. We'll have, what, 4 dice with an evade?
Somebody's very noisily opening the chocolate bar.
Oh, right in the ears.
I mean, he did go for that option, and Martyn just rolled maximum pain as a disrespect.
Because it's Martyn.
Do you just 5 straight with that Jedi? Who's opening crisps? Me.
Oh, no.
Okay. Dale being loud. Well, you're all muted now till Dale's finished. Is Dale finished? Okay.
Finished.
There we go. We're back now.
We're very sorry. He's a builder.
Yeah, he's just getting his strength up before he takes on Ollie.
Well, if you want to complain, write on a postcard too.
Back to Dial's ass.
I think if I'm Phil here, I think I concede.
Phil doesn't.
Rather than draw it out any longer.
Phil does not concede.
Yeah,
just check on the time with himself.
It's 3 minutes 40.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Phil's chances of winning here are pretty close to 0.
Yeah,
but if you concede, your chance of winning are 0. So,
yeah. And
why would
there's
you
always
ever concede?
there's always a
if he
chance he
can-
could eke a bit of MOV out.
If he can pull off a clinch battle meditation bit here, then I think he's got it.
So I think actually, having mentioned that card, 6 points for battle meditation still feels expensive, right?
It does.
I think if it has a place, it has a place on Ahsoka, because the action that you're using is a bonus action anyway.
Yeah.
But having said that, I still don't think it's worth it.
No.
I think it almost needs to be 3. Like if you could coordinate 3 generic ships on the same action, I think then it feels worth it.
Yeah.
But to spend a force and an action to generate 2 actions on generic ships feels.
Well, if we just quickly, because I think the only real comparison is Hux, and Hux is 6, and he's better.
But it's also not something you really see very much of, right? I think it's been a while since I saw Hux on the table.
Yeah, well, you don't. It's not. That's not worth it in itself.
Yeah.
And that's it. And Hux does feel like a better battle meditation. And if we agree that Hux isn't very good, then
Because you're making it red, which is arguably the same as spending a force, and then it's just.
I think it's probably a card that they put in for thematic reasons, and I wonder how much it got nerfed during the playtesting process. I wonder if it started out being coordinated for more ships, or without spending the force, or a greater range, or whatever. And I think it may be a card where the line between broken and not at all worth it is very, very fine.
Yeah.
Matt, that is a Han Solo salute for you. Thank you for that.
All of a sudden, it gets very out of hand.
Martyn just rolling perfectly there. And Phil's taking a crit because he hasn't got the force.
So I'm hoping for a direct. Is there something that can do 3 damage there?
I was just thinking.
Stun.
I'm hoping for the instant game over card.
I mean, a stunned pilot would help
direct.
because there's a good chance he goes over that rock.
I mean, to be fair, disable power regulator would also be horrific at this point. I am showing to the rock. No, it's
I think what we needed was for Phil to pick up a card and there to be another crit sort of stuck to the bottom of it. they both flick at the same time.
Jesus. Jeez.
Because whilst having
just refusing to take damage.
whilst having blinded pilot is not terrible for a Jedi, he still can't add the eyeball for CLT.
Yeah, it's not thrilling, is it?
I think Cormac's record is safe. I think Phil's going to lose by a bigger margin.
Yeah, but Phil gets bonus points for
Writing a blog.
Well, he's playing out of faction. He's doubled his ship count.
It's got 1/85th of his bid.
Yeah.
So, have we got Ollie yet? Do we know Ollie's list?
We do know Ollie's list.
I believe
And we've
it's
got
happened
Dale's locked
specifically.
in. So, should we start having a chat about those while the last few turns of this game go in? What are we looking at?
I mean, we're gonna have time between setting up that game and ending this one, so I think we'll leave that for a moment. I think would be sensible.
So, for the second time this evening, we're going to see a Falcon on the table.
It will presumably be Leia then.
Yes, yeah. So it is surprisingly very similar though to what we saw from Julian, but we have Leia with Chopper, Crew,
Yeah,
and the
they
Millennium
can't hear me,
Falcon
I just
title.
realised.
Oh, did he stick with
Wedge,
Chopper?
Wedge in the T65 with Crackshot and S-Foils, and Jan Ors with Moldy Crow and engine upgrade.
I was going to say it might be sensible to hold it to the end. We are going to have time between the end of this game and the start of the next one, aren't we? Although I do know what Dell's list is as well. We do have it.
I nearly brought the exact same thing. He's bringing what I was going to bring. But he's put Leia for
Glad
Hera.
you didn't then.
No, that would have been the most ridiculous game. I'm glad I didn't now.
Just
I like
me,
it.
What does Chopper Crew do?
You can
It's
take
the-
actions while stressed if you take damage.
Okay.
It's not good. It's emergency get out of jail card.
And how
Yeah.
much is it?
It's a point. 1 point.
Yeah, okay.
1 point.
Is it 200?
I'm just trying.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Dale desperately dropping upgrades off his list.
I can't change my list. My list is Wedge, Coroner, AP5.
He is at 200 points.
So am I.
So does Phil take
Yeah.
damage for landing the rock?
Yes.
So it is going to be.
I accidentally
Well done.
put Crackshot on AP5 when I didn't want to. If you could just amend that quickly.
I mean, that does sound very valid, because why the hell would you put I'm very new?
Well held. Good man.
Well, because
why
on low Crackshot.
I knew it would be Dale. I said to the stream, I said it would be Dale at Mainly Square. But it would be really stupid.
Crackshot
Why are
on
you
low
putting
agility.
Crackshot on AP5?
Crackshot on low agility ships is amazing for area denial. Thank you.
It is. To be
By-
fair.
by-
I
by
mean,
ability,
I mean,
you mean
that's
initiative.
dead Jedi, by the
In the
way.
meantime, this game is over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Game is
mean,
over.
Dale, just before we start your game, can we just now say it? Crackshot does not work in the rear arc.
I know that. I know that. He's facing forward. AP5 doesn't run away from nothing.
Still, the most hilarious thing I can remember was the Cardiff regional.
Tom.
That cursed regional where the entire
That
top
was
8 was
so
Miranda.
funny.
And like partway through round 3, Tom Duncan, whose name was on the playtester for the ship, suddenly shouts out loud, "Wait a minute! The Sheathapede has a rear firing arc."
1 second.
so brilliant. Ugh.
Can we jump over to the Discord, guys?
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah, we're going to have an edge, you see.
Oh, how
Coming over now to the Discord.
How do we do that?
You joined the Discord server you were already in, Dale.
Oh, but okay. Let's see if
Hold
this
on.
works here.
I need to help Dale get to the Discord server.
In chat. We're on it here. There's loads of people. Hello. The invasion.
It's good.
That was a little bit grim. It was.
How do I get?
Losing 2 ships before I rolled the evade was a little bit painful. Like, I've got a soaker in a great place. I mean, Martyn did it. Like,
Am I in?
We were chatting about it in our chat.
No.
I'm pretty sure you're still in Messenger, Dale, because you've muted it.
Yeah, I can't. But I'm in the Discordy thing, and I can't talk. It doesn't recognise I'm in it.
Yeah, Discord's playing up for me as well. I think it might just be struggling a bit today.
All these bloody internet talky things. Oh, I'm not even in. I'm not even in the Facebook chat. Am I in the Facebook chat?
And then he parked one. I'm like,
yes, you are.
Oh God.
That certainly stopped it being a contest, didn't it?
Yeah.
And the kind of opening couple of turns has gone in your favour, but that removed any doubt.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if Ahsoka takes a crit there, if she lives, then probably kill one of the Naboo. Because I had the range 1 bullseye shot from Snips. So if I kill the one Naboo, then it's an entirely different game. So I haven't got another lot of proton torps to worry about. But yeah, like passive sensors and proton torps. Who knew, right? Really good.
Yeah.
Passive protons. Yeah, it seems like that works.
Yeah.
I think with the threat of 4 ships with torps, you don't need to be going super fast to get the evades because you just sit there ready to get the locks to fire the torps. If I take the damage on 2 generics, I was like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's good, right? Anyone have any idea where Dale is?
Dale is currently
he's
probably
in
fixing
the
balance.
Facebook chat.
Dale is currently in a Facebook chat with us as he was commentating, and he's having some problems. He's having some problems with his Discord at the moment.
Okay,
he's
fine.
Busy,
I'll go.
He's busy dropping crack shots to get a bid.
You guys are going to commentate on here, right? So I'll just go and join the Facebook chat anyway.
No, we've been commentating on the Facebook chat.
Fair enough.
The players have been in here, but
Martyn and I were having Discord problems, so we both disappeared and went on to Facebook.
Ollie,
Mm-hmm.
I pinched your list and then had